A power grab or an effort to streamline government efficiency? That is the debate tonight between the Buffalo Common Council and the Ryan administration. Good evening, I'm Scott Levin.
And I'm Mary Alice Demler. A resolution included in Mayor Ryan's budget is causing quite a stir after council members say it will give the mayor too much control over contracts and vendors while stripping away their checks and balances.
Joining us, Nate Benson has been following this story all day long. He has the latest for us tonight. Hello, Nate.
Yeah, good evening, Scott and Mary Alice. The administration says they simply want to do something that Erie County and other municipalities do. But the Common Council says a resolution that will give greater control over contracts and vendors and grants to the mayor is, quote, dead on arrival. On page 410 of Mayor Ryan's budget book is something no one I spoke to in city government has seen in a Buffalo budget before: a budget resolution. It's only 2 3/4 pages long, but in a nutshell,
the idea is simply to take the various items that are in the budget itself and codify authorization to actually enact on them, as well as some other more modest language about things like fixing technical corrections, being able to enter into grants that are already contemplated in the budget, things like that.
Why? Why do this?
So it's a pretty standard practice, like I said. The idea is just we're already voting on the budget. And so inside the budget, there's an array of contracts, grants that we're going to be accepting, and a whole array of things that are routine city business that occur year after year.
As you can see in the language of the resolution, it would authorize the mayor or his staff to enter into contracts, amendments, or MOUs, and other general business with vendors and authorities. The rationale, according to Deputy Mayor Benjamin Swanekamp.
So instead of having to go immediately after the budget passage and go back over and bring over a huge array of contracts for approval that we already need to enter into to run city government, basically, we're just doing it in the same process.
But that's not how members of the Common Council see it. They see it as an infringement on their oversight of the second floor.
That's my job. And so this budget resolution is literally giving my job to the mayor.
Because according to council members, scrutinizing who gets awarded contracts or how money gets shifted between departments is one of the key roles they play in city government.
The way that our charter is set up is that the mayor proposes and that the Common Council disposes, and then to remove us from that would negate the check and balance of City Hall.
You typically don't see legislation like this packaged in with a budget, especially in the back few pages where you're not really sure it was in there. I didn't even know it was in there until it was brought to my attention and I got back there a little bit.
Keeping in mind that according to the city charter, if the administration and council do not agree on budget amendments, the mayor's proposed budget automatically moves forward, which would include that resolution council members say strip them of their checks and balance.
I think the intent of this particular piece of legislation is just to make sure that we pass or don't pass, but they still get extra authority.
It's dead on arrival.
Why would we give that power to the mayor? And I'm not going to sign on for that. I would never sign on for that.
You know, I think we've seen a little bit of a trend here the last few months, like a lack of communication coming from the administration to the council in particular. And so it's a little frustrating at times.
I'll quote Deputy Mayor White. She likes to say, just assume good intentions. This is not intended to be sneaky. It's right there to take a look at, or a power grab. It's just, again, a way to make sure that when the budget is passed and we hit the new fiscal year on July 1st, we're able to hit the ground running to deliver on Mayor Ryan's change agenda.
Well, if there are honest intentions, and I like to believe that that's the plan, then the appropriate step would be to have a conversation with the legislative leadership and allow us to make a decision about whether or not we want to do it instead of putting a poison pill in a budget.
Now, Council President Farrelletto, along with council members Bowman, Golombek, and Rivera and Wyatt, also opposed this resolution. This could be quite a budget battle brewing with this resolution.
They oppose it, but you also mentioned that lawmakers haven't seen something like this before. No. What have you found?
No, I went through the city archives all the way back to 2006. I could not find any budget resolution in any of Mayor Brown's budgets and, of course, Mayor Scanlon's budgets.
Right.
What about open government advocates? I imagine they had some thoughts on this.
Yeah, I spoke to open government advocate Paul Wolf earlier today, and he said this is the most Albany thing to happen to a city government, and he did not mean that in a good way. So we'll have to keep following this as it plays out during the budget battle, Mary Alice.
The most Albany thing.
Yeah, that's never good.
No.
All righty, Nate, great reporting.
All right.
Thank you.